read out question.
Okay, so today, class, we're going to be reading the fantastic flying books of Mr. Morris Lessmore. So looking at the cover, you see like how the books are flying and stuff? Do you think books really fly?
No. Only if we throw them.
What do you think books flying could mean?
Special.
Yeah, maybe some magic of the stories, possibly. Okay. Morris Lessmore loved words. He loved stories. He loved books. His life was a book of his own writing, one orderly page after another. He would open it every morning and write of his joys, sorrows, and all that he knew, and everything that he hoped for. Let's look at Morris. How does he look while he's reading? How do we think he feels? Maybe
Sad.
maybe sad, maybe focused. Yeah, he looks kind of focused. But every story has its upsets. One day the sky darkened and the wind blew and blew. See him blowing around with all his pages? Till everything Morris knew was scattered, even the words of his book. How does the storm change Morris's life? How is he looking in this picture?
Very sad.
Yeah. Does he have any books left
The house
after
is
the
upside
storm?
down.
Yeah.
Paper on the floor.
Yeah. It looks like he has maybe one book left. He didn't know what to do or which way to go, so he began to wander and wander. Then a happy bit of happenstance came his way. Rather than looking down, as had become his habit, Morris Lessmore looked up. Drifting through the sky above him, Morris saw a lovely lady. She was being pulled along by a festive squadron of flying books. Does anyone know what happenstance means? No. Happenstance means an event that happens by chance or just by luck. So he was just lucky to come across this lady. And then a squadron is just another word for squad, so it's just a big group of books. Morris wondered if his book could fly, but it couldn't. It would only fall to the ground with a depressing thud. The flying lady knew Morris simply needed a good story, so she sent him her favorite. The book was an amiable fellow, and urged Morris to follow him. Amiable means friendly, so he was a friendly guy. What would you do if a friendly book asked you to follow it? Yeah, I don't know if I would follow it. It'd be a little weird, huh? The book led him to an extraordinary building where many books apparently nested. We see how the word nested is in quotes? That means that they didn't actually nest. But it's interesting to look at the picture because they look like birds. So,
They're flying like
yeah.
birds.
I wonder what they're trying to get us to think about the books. Morris slowly walked inside and discovered the most mysterious and inviting room he had ever seen. It was filled with fluttering and countless pages, and Morris could hear the faint chatter of 1,000 different stories, as if each book was whispering an invitation to adventure. Why do the books seem to have their own personalities? Turn and talk to a partner about what you think this means about the author's message, maybe.
They have their own story.
Every book has its own life.
Yeah, has its own, I guess, story.
Personality.
Personality, yeah.
Very good. I like all those ideas a lot. It's very interesting when we look at these pictures. If you notice, Morris is staying in black and white and everything else is in color.
He's sad.
Then his new friend flew up to him and landed on his arm. It held itself open as if hoping to be read. The room rustled to life. And so Morris's life among the books began. See, he's in color now. That his book came up to him. Morris tried to keep the books in some sort of order, but they always mixed themselves up. The tragedies needed cheering up and would visit the comedies. The encyclopedias, weary of facts, would relax with the comic books and fictions. All in all, it was an agreeable jumble. Morris found great satisfaction in caring for the books, gently fixing those with fragile bindings and unfolding the dog-eared pages of others. So how did he take care of the books? See him with some tape, he's got a stethoscope,
Put them back
kind of like
together.
they're really alive is how he's taking care of them.
Like a doctor.
Why is it important to take care of them?
So they'll get old.
So maybe other people can read the stories as time goes on. They can be carried down. Sometimes Morris would become lost in a book and scarcely emerge for days. So scarcely means we wouldn't really see him for days. He wouldn't come out much. See him sliding down the pages. Morris liked to share books with others. Sometimes it was a favorite that everyone loved, and other times he found a lonely little volume whose tale was seldom told. Everyone's story matters, said Morris, and all the books agreed. You see how these people are black and white, and then afterwards, after they get their book, they're in color? So what do we think books symbolize in this story?
Happiness.
Adventure.
Yeah, I mean all kinds of things. At night, after all the stories that needed telling had been told, and everyone had settled down to their proper places on the shelves, the great big dictionary would get in the last word. It was then Morris Lessmore would once again write in his own book. He wrote of his joys and sorrows and all that he knew and everything that he hoped for. The days passed, so did the months, and then the years and years. You can see he gets really old here. He gets a little older in this picture, but now he's very old. He's got a cane. He's still got his books with him though. And Morris Lessmore became stooped and crinkly, but the books never changed. Their stories stayed the same. Now his old friends took care of him the way he had cared for them, and they read themselves to him each night. So stooped means like hunched over, like how old people's posture is really bad. But let's look at the picture, and after reading that last page and what we talked about earlier, what do we think the books symbolize?
Companionship.
Books are your friend.
Yeah, friends.
Lifelong friend.
Yeah.
Even
I
when
like
you're
that.
old.
He looks very happy that they're still with him. One day he filled the last page in his book. He looked up and said with a bittersweet sigh, "I guess it's time for me to move on." And the books were sorry, but they understood. Morris put on his hat and took his cane. As he went to the door, he turned and smiled, then waved goodbye. "I'll carry you all in here," he said, and pointed to his heart. The books waved their pages, and Morris Lessmore flew away. And as he flew, he changed back to the way he'd been that long ago day when they'd all first met. You see, now he looks all young again. He's with the books like how that lady was when they met a long time ago. So why does Morris fly away? What do we think this means?
We
His
die.
life is over.
Yeah, his story might be over. Yeah.
He's going to heaven.
The books were quiet for a while. Then they noticed that Morris Lessmore had left something behind. "It's his book," said his oldest friend. Inside was Morris's story, all of his joys and sorrows, all that he knew, and everything that he hoped for. There it is, shining in the light. Then the books heard a small, expectant sound. There in the doorway was a little girl. She looked around with wonder. Then something fantastic happened. Morris Lessmore's book flew up to her and opened its pages. The girl began to read, and so our story ends as it began, with the opening of a book. So let's turn to our partners and let's ask, what do you think the author is trying to say about books and stories?
They're happy.
They go on for a long time.
Yeah,
Gives you adventures.
they never die.
Mhm.
Their life story keeps going on and on and on.
Yeah.
So I have another question for y'all. Why do books and stories matter in our lives? What makes them important to us?
So we can learn things.
They bring happiness.
Yeah.
We have something to, I guess, do.
And escape.
Escape, yeah. Yeah.
I like that. I think this book teaches us about the power of reading and power of stories, and it's really important to carry these on throughout time, especially people's stories about what they went through. It's cool to see after all the years, we can go back and see how people in the like Viking times and stuff like that lived because they wrote it down. So, and then my last question is, has a book ever flown off to you from the shelves and like spoken to you like it did to Morris Lessmore?
Not physically.
Yeah,
mentally.
but yeah,
It did. And the title did.
yeah. And if it hasn't, would you want one to maybe?
Yes.
Would you want to experience a story like that?
Yes. I would.
Good job, everyone. Great job today.